My favorite subject. We're talking about food. Food. My favorite subject. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is me, Jess. It is I, Jess, the fat funny one. And I am here to talk all things budgeting, but specifically food budgets. Now, I talked about budget cash envelopes. I will link the blog post below. But my biggest tip when you are looking at budgeting is go to what you spend the most or what you feel you've got the least control over. And for us, it was our food spend. I love me some food. Like, you guys know I love it. I love food. I love food. Everything is about food. I just love food. But it meant that I was spending so much money and not keeping track of what I was spending, and I'd get to the end of the month and I'd be like, where's all my money gone, and realise that I'd probably spent it on 65,000 chicken nuggets. Anyway, so one of the things that I do when I want to budget, when I want to save, when I really want to get to grips with my finances, is I tackle the biggest thing first, and for me that is our food. I'm going to give you 10 top tips for me that I do all the time to really get a rein in on my money and on my spending when it comes to food. So tip number 1. When you are looking at your food budget, take out all non-food related items. So that will include things like cleaning products, washing powder, shower gels, bath products, toiletries, etc. Take them all out. One of the things you can't do is look at how much you're spending on food if you are including your household items. So you need to take them out of your food budget. So for us, we have a food budget, which is specifically for things that are edible. And then we have a household budget, which covers things like toiletries, cleaning products, washing up liquid, what else? Washing powder, all that good stuff. That is what sits under our household budget. Tip number 2 is look at what you've already got. I cannot stress this enough. You don't have to have a full inventory list, and I've seen loads of people do this. That's wonderful. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I do not do that, but what I do before I go shopping, especially when we're doing a big shop, is go into your kitchen and open your cupboards. What have you already got? Have you already got 2 packets of pasta sitting at the back of the cupboard? Have you got some tinned goods that you can use? What's in your freezer? What's in your fridge? What have you got? And what can you already make? You need to know that, so when you're shopping, you're not overspending on things that you've already got in the house, you're not overbuying things, and also you can keep your spending low. Tip number 3. Once you find out what you've got in your house, Google what you can make with what you've got. So for example, there has been occasions where I've had some frozen chicken in the freezer, some random chopped tomatoes, and maybe some rice. I've just literally put those items into Google and looked at some recipes. Once you've done that, also just look for recipes. I find sticking to a food budget and a food plan, I get more excited and more engaged about it when I'm making new things. I love a spaghetti bolognese, I love a shepherd's pie, but sometimes I can get really bored of those. So spend some time Googling some really good cheap recipes. BBC Good Food is a fabulous one. There are loads that also will give you a cost per portion, so you can work out what it is you're going to spend and have a rough idea. Look for cheap ingredients, look for recipes that are for big families that you can then portion up. So have a look at recipes, get creative. It makes it so much more fun and so much more engaging, and you are less likely to then want to grab a takeaway or get something else from the shop because you'll have stuff that you're looking forward to cooking. Tip number 4 is do something that we seem to call dinner bingo. Now, this is basically just meal planning, and when I talk about meal planning, people do it weekly, monthly, all different ways. But we do something called dinner bingo. And the reason why we do dinner bingo and we don't do a set meal plan is there's some days that I would plan something and then I just wouldn't fancy it. So for example, if I put spaghetti bolognese on a Monday and then I just thought, I really don't want that on Monday, and then I'd pick something from later on in the week and then I'd get all my days mixed up. Our dinner bingo sheet looks like this, and basically I write down all the meals that we could possibly make with what we've got in the house. Now, we've already gone shopping and done our big shop and a little shop, so this is why there's so much on here. I've also color coded it with things that are in the freeze stock and things that will be leftovers. and I write them all down, and then as we go we just pick what we want that day and then I tick it off. So I know I can make all of the things on this list. It just means that we can have what we fancy rather than really sticking to a regimented meal plan. Now that works for us, that might not work for you. What might work for you is having a regimented meal plan. The important part of this is that you have a meal plan and you plan your meals in advance. Tip number 5, write a shopping list. This is like so key before you even go to the supermarket. Once you've done the beginning steps, and if you've done the first couple of top tips first, your list should be so accurate. You've already checked what you've got in the house, you've already looked at recipes that you can make, so you've got a list of ingredients you need. Once you've got all that, you should know what you then need to buy at the shop. Now for us, one of the other things I do when writing a list is I just have this little notebook here and I keep it in the kitchen. When things run out, I pop it on the list. So for example, on here I've got butter. Now the butter is just about to run out, but I've popped it on there. So when I've done my meal plan, when I've looked at all the things that we've already got in the house, I will then work out, oh actually, I still need to buy butter. Gravy granules is another one, something that we don't buy often, because it's one of those things that you know, last forever. But I've written it down because it's just about to finish. So then when I do my meal plan, I know that I've got everything covered. Once you've done that and you've got your top things that have kind of already run out in your house, and then you've done your recipes and you know what you want, write a list and stick to it. Tip number 6. When you are in the supermarket, do not, I repeat, do not shop hungry. Now this seems like such an obvious one, but if you're hungry and tired and you're doing it after work, you just start throwing things in the trolley, and it's so hard to stick to your list because you'll go with what you fancy, you'll be hungry, you'll buy more things than you need to buy, and it just gets a bit much. So my biggest probably tip out of all of them is don't go to the supermarket hungry. Tip number 7, when you're shopping, and these are probably a couple of tips all rolled into one, check the price per unit or per gram. Now that's really important. Sometimes you can think that you're getting a good deal and you're not, because if you actually look at the little label on the shelf, sometimes something that's smaller or bigger, depending on the price per unit, can be considerably different in price. So we look at the price per gram and the price per unit. For example, the other day we were buying a big bag of rice. Now the 5 kg bag of rice, I know that's a lot but it'll last us a while, was worked out at something like £6. But then the 10 kg bag of rice worked out something like £9. Now at first you might just look at that and think, well I only need this, but the price per 100 grams worked out so much cheaper to buy the 10 kg bag. So that is what we went for, because in the long run we're getting much better value for money. The other thing to look for in the supermarket is things that are at your eye level are not always going to be the best price. Supermarkets are strategic. They place things where you're going to see them. Avoid all the things at the end of the aisle with the flashy sale signs. It doesn't necessarily mean they're cheaper. Go into the aisle and look down. Things that are lower down on the shelf tend to be better value for money. It's probably where you're going to find the supermarket own brand products. It's probably where you're going to find things that are not necessarily big name brands, and that is where you're going to find things that are tend to be better value for money. And that kind of moves on to the next point, which again, all encompassing with this tip number 7, which seems to be a long one, is don't always go for name brands. I know we trust name brands, and actually there's loads of name brands that we've stuck to because we love them. But actually, not all the time is that better value for money, and not all the time are you getting a different product. So one of the things that we do is we do a bit of a test. Every time we go shopping, we swap out a name brand for a supermarket brand and we try that product. If we love it, we will go with the shop own brand. If we don't love it, we'll go back to our supermarket brand. But we test a few products every time we go shopping so we can slowly reduce our food budget over time. The recent one we've done is Kit Kats. We love a Kit Kat. We have them in packed lunch. I have them in my packed lunch. The kids have them in their packed lunch. But we actually recently bought the Aldi version of a Kit Kat, and the chocolate tastes exactly the same. Now that can't be said for all products, but this particular one is a win for us, and we're now saving over £1 every time we buy a multi-pack. So it's well worth swapping out your products and doing a taste test over time. Although one of the things I won't swap out is ketchup. I love Heinz ketchup. Tip number 8, batch cook where you can. And now when I mean batch cook, I don't just mean batch cooking big dishes, but actually batching some of your food prep is massive. One of the things we've done recently is where the weather's really cold, we want to have some hot breakfast. But no one's got time to be making hot breakfast when you're trying to get the kids ready for school, and I've already left for work at 6 a.m. I've been batch cooking some things like porridge, muffins, croissants with ham and cheese, and whacking them all in the freezer. It has been a lifesaver. You grab something out the freezer, pop it in the microwave, and you're good to go. Batch cooking also, in the correct form, is just making bigger portions and splitting them up. So things like spaghetti bolognese, chili, lentils, pasta bakes, desserts, apple crumbles, all sorts. Whatever you're making, double up and pop in your freezer. You will find it so much easier later on when you are looking for something and you're gonna tempted to, you want something quick, it's been a long day, and you've already made something in your house. This will literally cut your food budget so much. And if you've got a slow cooker, this is like the best thing to use to do it. Tip number 9, look at your meal portions. Now, I am not one to tell anyone, no, to have a small portion. That's not what I'm saying. But look at how much you are portioning up. One of the things that I always did was overcooked pasta. Pasta, I literally don't know why I think that you need like a whole pot and then it expands and then you've got like 26,000 portions of pasta. Look at how much you're portioning up. If you are not batch cooking especially and you are making a single meal, then look at how much you're serving. One of the meals that me and Trevor really like is I do this honey salmon. It's like a soy sauce, honey sauce with salmon fillets, and we love it. We used to have 2 salmon fillets each at the cost of £2.85 a head. It was so much money. How much is that? Like £5.50? It's like over £5 for salmon for one meal. And whilst we thought that was really good value, we actually one day only had 1 packet with 2 fillets in, and we had to split that between us and have a fillet each, and actually found we were both equally as satisfied with our meal after. So we've stopped cooking 2 fillets each and overeating because we were actually really happy with just the 1 fillet and a portion of rice and bulking the meal up with some extra veg and salad, which was cheaper. And now we've cut that meal down to £2.85 per portion and splitting it between the 2 of us. It makes such a big difference. Look at how much pasta you're cooking. Are you wasting food? Are you overcooking and then not freezing or popping things in leftovers? It's really important to make sure that you're portioning up right, especially for children and for yourself. Not because I don't want everyone to eat, because I love the food, but actually when you're looking at your meals, are you making too much and then being wasteful? Now, tip number 10, stop going to the shops. Now that sounds really ridiculous, and I obviously don't mean stop going to the shops completely, but where we were spending the most money were those tiny little trips to Tesco's. Has anyone got any nappies? I'm just gonna get some milk. Someone pop to the shop. Oh, I really fancy a drink. Just gonna get a chocolate bar. We've forgotten the wipes. Stop with those. That is where you spend so much money. We would pop into the shop and we'd just pick up a few bits. Oh, I just needed milk, £25 later. Oh, I just need to grab something for the kids, £15 later. It all adds up and you end up spending so much money. If you do need to nip to the shop, and it happens, last week we ran out of milk, not sure how, but we did. Only take the money that you need to go to that shop run, and then it stops you from picking up all the extra little bits that you don't need but you just fancy and spending loads in the shop. Trevor had to nip to the shop to grab some milk. He took £2, he took enough to buy the milk, he bought the milk, and he came back. That was it. It really stops us purchasing all of those added extra bits, especially at small convenience supermarkets that are open later that actually are more expensive than the bigger stores. It's well worth just taking the money that you need if you need to do an emergency run to the shop, but not overspending when you get there. I hope that helps. Those have been some life-saving tips for us when it comes to really budgeting and reining our spend, and I hope that that helps you. There are actually loads more, and as I was talking I wished I probably did like 20 top tips, but I'll probably do another video without making you watch me for like another half an hour, and hopefully that'll explain even more. I hope that helps. Get budgeting, get saving. 2020 is the year for savings goals. If you're anything like us and you're overspending on your food shop, hopefully this video will help you save those pennies, which will eventually turn into pounds. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye! And when you oh my gosh,